Yes, this video title is not clickbait, and Rina is actually getting more value thanks to a new mechanic introduced in the version 2 of ZZZ, Miasma. Or at least during the Miasma phase, Rina gets more value. Yes, because in case you didn't watch my yesterday video, enemies get an 80% increase in defense and also a 25% damage reduction. This means that issue on damage is also lowered during the Miasma mechanic, okay? Highly recommend checking out my video guide. I'm going to be looking at the top right corner right now because it has a lot of information, but you don't need to watch to understand this video. To be honest, I was supposed to talk about this. I just completely forgot. So yeah, consider this video a follow-up for my previous one, because the thing is that defense strat and penetration, they are going to interact in different ways with Miasma, okay? Because the way they interact with this defense buff, it changes a little bit, okay? So it's really important to understand how they work, and to make it easier to understand, I would highly recommend you to check out my damage guide, but you don't need to check it right now because I'll be doing my best to explain a way that you can still understand even if you don't understand how the damage formula works. But basically, Nicole and defense strat buffs, they are losing some value, and penetration keeps getting more value thanks to the Miasma mechanic, because the way they are going to interact with this 80% defense. Listen, I know you're super excited for the season 2 of ZZZ, but hear me out a little bit. You like saving money, right? Who doesn't like it? That's where LD Shop comes in. LDShop.gg is a top-up platform that offers massive discounts on a lot of different games, including ZZZ. And the best part? All you need is your server and the UID and you're good to go. And the top-up process is super easy. All you need to do is select your server, then you type your UID, you pick up what you want to buy and press top up. You're going to get a confirmation detail page, make sure all your details are correct here, and then you can pay it. Then you go into the game and just wait a little bit, you're going to get your monochrome in a few seconds. It's that fast. There you go. And you know, the first time that you buy one of these monochrome packs, you get double the amount of monochromes. And LD Shop got you covered because buying on the platform triggers the double top-up bonus for you. If you spend more than $80 in a single month, you become a VIP, which gives you a $5 monthly coupon that can be used, for example, to get a free internet membership for you. And if you never use LD Shop, you can register your account using my link and you're going to get a 15 and a 5% coupon that can save you up to $50. Check the link down in the description and start saving money using LD Shop. Thanks LD Shop for sponsoring this video. So for this video, we're going to be sharing some tests. Once again, I'm using the exact same build on MB. So now let's apply Nicole defense strat. And you're going to notice here that the damage goes up. 1898, that's how much damage we're getting using Nicole defense strat. So yes, it's working. Yes, it's increasing the damage. It's not 48% anymore. Okay, but how exactly is it working in the formula itself? It's on the defense reduction. Nicole is simply going to reduce this by 40%. So instead of the enemy getting 80%, the enemy is only getting 40% defense. And you can see here the damage, once again, it gets really close. Basically, this is what's going on the Miasma mechanic. Okay, so we have here the enemy defense. Okay, let's say that the enemy has this amount of defense right here. Then during the Miasma mechanic, what the game is doing is adding some extra defense to the enemy. You see? So instead of having this amount of defense, now the enemy has this much defense. And where Nicole enters the equation? Nicole enters the equation by saying, oh, I'm also going to take a part of this defense right here. Okay? So if before the enemy had, let me pick another color. So if before the enemy had 100%, you know, the default defense, and then it added 80% because of Miasma, plus 80% during the Miasma, Nicole comes here and say, no, it's only, you're going to be reducing this by 40%. So at the end, you get a 40% defense increase. So if you take a look, for example, on Miyabi, it's going to ignore the enemy defense, okay? Miyabi Mindscape 1 is working right here as well. If you take a look on Evelyn, for example, Evelyn Mindscape 1, it ignores 12% of the enemy defense. It's also working right here. Hugo Mindscape 2, it ignores 15% of the enemy defense. It's also working right here. Same thing with Trigger Signature and a lot of other units. Jane Assault as well, they're interacting on this way. So you can see here that the moment that we apply this on the formula, it works just as intended. Just for example, let's take a quick look on how the damage would be if there was no Miasma at the enemy, okay? Just Nicole defense defense reduction, because this is one of the reasons that everyone uses Nicole 2 today. It's super strong. You can see here that the damage increase compared to the default MB dodge counters would be around 28% of damage increase, okay, just by applying Nicole defense strat. Now, let's take a quick look on Rina, because I also did the same test using Rina. So right here, same damage once again. Now, let's apply Rina buffs to the enemy. See? 3798, close to the puppets. You can see right here on the top right corner, on the top left corner, that Rina buff is being applied. 3798. My Rina is not at the core F, it's not fully buffed. I'm only getting 34.6% of penetration. Let's add these numbers on the calculation. 34.6, right? And then let's remove the defense reduction. Okay, so the calculation tells us that it's going to be 3798. And inside of the video, you can notice right here that we're getting 3798, exactly the same amount of damage. One thing that you're going to notice is that Nicole is better than Rina outside of Miasma. But now what about during the Miasma mechanic? Let's trigger the Miasma. Okay, so here you can see that we still have the Rina penetration buff, and take a look on this. 2108, we're finally reaching the 2000 mark for my damage. And look at this. Outside of the Miasma mechanic, Rina is worse than Nicole. But during the Miasma mechanic, Rina is better than Nicole. But how? Why? Aren't they both interacting with the enemy defense? Yes, they are, but in different ways. So, I just said, every single defense buff, they are going to be interacting like this, you know, being added or removed from the enemy defense. So, let's say that we have 50% penetration. Instead of, for example, removing this amount of penetration, what 50% penetration is doing is going to pick up half of this whole defense and is going to remove minus 50%. Completely ignoring Miasma plus some of the enemy defense by using penetration. Okay, this is what is going on. Okay, so these are the difference between defense strat and penetration. Every single time that you see that something is removing the enemy defense, it's just being added or subtracted from the enemy defense itself. But when you see penetration, it takes all of the buffs and then it removes from this new number that you got after all the defense strat buffs. You can see here, for example, that if I were to add an infinite number of defense, okay, let's put a really insane number right here. Final damage, 0. But the moment that I add 100% penetration, we get damage, because now the enemy defense is back to 0. So, because of this, you can notice here that during the Miasma, Rina or penetration buffs, they are going to work better than just using defense strat. Outside of Miasma, Nicole gives 40%, Rina gives 30%. It's a no-brain right here, you know, 40 is better than 30. But during the Miasma mechanic, Rina is better than Nicole. Okay, this is what you need to keep in mind. Defense ignore buffs, we're getting a lot of these, either on Mindscapes, either on signature weapons as well, because we have Hugo's signature, we have Trigger signature, we have Hugo's Mindscape 2, as I mentioned before, we have Jane Mindscape 2, Miyabi Mindscape 1, we have Evelyn Mindscape 1, and a lot of different buffs, okay? Meanwhile, penetration, we don't have a lot of space for penetration. You see, we have Bernie's Mindscape 2, for example, we have Rina, but all of these units always feel kind of bad when you have someone who can give you 40% defense strat, crit buffs, damage buffs as well. So why exactly are you going to run penetration? Why exactly are you going to stack penetration if it's so easy for you to get access to defense strat? Well, now we have a reason to run penetration instead of defense buffs. Just so you know, this is basically what sheer force is doing to your damage, okay? It's basically getting 100% penetration. Because it doesn't matter the enemy defense, you're always going to be ignoring, because the defense multiplier doesn't exist with sheer force, okay? But still, okay, let's just put here these numbers for comparison. During the Miasma, it's always going to be a minus 25% damage because of this. No agent can interact with this. On yesterday's video, I mentioned that there's no agent that interacts with damage taken, and I even mentioned that Caesar is not a damage taken buff. Okay, we have Caesar right here, and if you take a look on her additional ability, a lot of players think that this is damage taken. This is not damage taken. This is just damage, the same damage multiplier, okay? And here I have two different tests where you can see that I'm dealing the exact amount of damage, okay? Here you are using only the second stance that gives penetration to Yanagi, plus Caesar shield, of course, and the additional ability. You can see here the damage on the screen, but the moment that I swap to using both stances, no Caesar additional ability on Dullahan, and just using Protopunk effect, I still achieve the exact same amount of damage. You see? So it's not damage taken. It's not damage taken, it's just damage. You can do the test yourself, okay? You can check it. It's just damage. It's not damage taken, okay? What this means for builds, we're getting like a lot of value on running penetration discs overall. I think my Evelyn right now is geared up toward penetration because you get a lot of damage on many different sources. So you see, for example, her additional ability already gives you 30% damage. We have, for example, Astral Voice. If you're playing Astra with your Evelyn, you get 24% from your Astral Voice, you get another 20% from Astra EX Special. So there's a lot of different ways you can get damage on your Evelyn. Because of all the damage buffs that we're getting, penetration stocks were always finding a way to get better because of how much access to damage and attack buffs we're getting over the 1.0 all the way to the 2.0. And now, because the Miasma mechanic and how defense strat buffs interact with it, I feel that this is a way to offset the fact that we're getting access to defense ignore mechanics on a lot of different agents. We have Mia B, as I said, we have Nicole, we have Trigger with her signature engine, okay, we have Hugo with his signature engine and also Mindscape too. So we have plenty of ways to interact with the defense on the same way that I mentioned before. You see, this way up here, we have plenty of ways to interact like this. So far, we don't have a single attacker agent that has a penetration ratio weapon, but maybe in the future we could move towards an attacker with penetration. Sheer Force is never going to benefit from penetration, so this means that basically if you're playing a non-rupture agents, depending on how Hoyo decides to approach Miasma, depending on how long the Miasma phase is for you, it might be a really good idea to keep trying to achieve high penetration numbers on your agent. Okay, time to let Nicole rest a little bit. Most of us are not going to completely ignore the Miasma mechanic, so yeah, basically Rina stocks keeps rising, and I'm really happy to see that Rina is getting more value. Penetration keeps getting more value since the 1.0. This is pretty much everything that I want to talk about today. It's not a huge video, but I really hope this could help you understand how defense strat penetration is going to interact with Miasma. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments down below or join my Discord server. I'm way more active on my Discord than here on the YouTube comment section. And if you want to understand how Miasma works, like really deep level of understanding, and also how the damage formula works, then I highly recommend you checking both my damage guide and my Miasma video that I'll be linking in your screen right now. Remember to subscribe if you're looking for more Zone 0 information and guides. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for watching this video. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.